Hey everybody, I'm Mo. Welcome to my channel. Let's get started with today's video. Today I'll be talking about a subject that's pretty dear to me, which is video games. Video games have been really good to me over the years. It helped me cope with life and was sort of an escape from reality. Like movies never did that thing for me. Like video games is what I need to calm down. For example, like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon on the PlayStation 1 and Pokemon Red and Blue on the Nintendo Game Boy. Like these games were phenomenal. They had me go through a lot of stuff in my life. So because video games were so good to me over the years, it's gonna be my subject for my first video on this channel. So let's get started. As technology advances, more and more people are devoting their time and effort to these games, like esports with huge amounts of prize money for games like Call of Duty, League of Legends, Dota 2, Blizzard's new MMO Overwatch, speedruns of classic games like The Legend of Zelda, even new games like Dishonored 2. Like, video games have their own community, and we can see that. Companies like Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, Blizzard keep constantly marketing their games and consoles for potential buyers. So we can see that video games have their own culture and on everything that has a screen right now and has been integrated into everyday life. But what really annoys me is that people still accuse video games of making its players more violent, antisocial, obese, and less educated, which is only really possible if you're really crazy addicted to it. But research and texts over the years have proven otherwise and have shown that they have many benefits, if not many. We're going to start by talking about the disadvantages of video games when they become an addiction, then the benefits of playing them overall. In this video, we're talking about the benefits, but of course everything has a disadvantage, especially when they become an addiction like alcohol and smoking, for example. First of all, it really affects your physical health. Due to you staying on your game all the time, you become lazy, you don't exercise, and you rely on fast foods and pick-me-ups such as Mountain Dew and Doritos, which in the long term will make you fat, and nobody wants that, to be honest. Second of all, focusing all of your time on a video game reduces your contact with the environment you live in, which leads to a lack of interest in other things like hobbies and activities and sports. Because of all that, you got isolated in your addiction and you start lacking social skills, which in the future will affect your mental health in the long term. And because you spend most of your time on a screen and lack social skills, you have social problems, which will result with you becoming a little shy introvert, and nobody wants that. And in some special cases, and with kids, gamers will have tendencies to imitate the protagonist of their supposed game. Like imagine someone imitating Nico from GTA 4 or Trevor from GTA 5. Nobody wants that. And most of these gamers will end up being pretty violent. And then new research proves that addiction to video games stunts the growth of your brain. While there are games that can stimulate both hemispheres in the frontal lobe is like what is associated with learning, memory, emotion, and continues to develop until you're like 20 years old, which raises our level of concern as brain development is imperative, during those crucial years of your development. Now that we're done with the cons, which I actually think is kind of exaggerated because I'm a really big gamer and I turned out okay, and I have a serious addiction to video games. Like every day after class, a good 3 hour session of gameplay.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry I interrupted.
And I can say that I turned out pretty okay, and I have a serious addiction, but I still go out, I talk to people, I'm not violent, my studies are doing well. But I do have sort of a gut, which is like a downfall, but still. I think it's over exaggerated. It makes us gamers look like we're a fat golem living in a cave out of nowhere. Like just in the cave eating and playing video games. And the biggest counterexample to that for real is Faye's Sensor. He is an athlete. He's Yanez Garcia's boyfriend, and she's an amazing, and a really amazing Mexican weather reporter. And he's a Call of Duty competitive player. That's a really good counterexample to that argument. Now, let's talk about the reason you clicked on this video, which is really the benefits of video games and what you've been waiting for. Let's go. The first advantage of playing video games is that it boosts your mental sharpness, like for example, hand-eye coordination. According to a University of Rochester study, people who play shoot 'em ups like Call of Duty really have better eyesight for a reason due to them being able to spot their next kill extremely fast, which exercises their eyes in a way. The researchers believe that shoot 'em ups may later serve to correct bad eyesight, plus it improves multitasking. Such skills are useful for everyday life, such as like driving at night, for example. Second of all, games today also emphasize the cooperative aspects of gameplay, in which two or more players need to work together, like combine their abilities to achieve a win. For example, games like League of Legends, Dota 2, Blizzard's Overwatch, and Destiny. Every player has a role in the team so they can work as efficiently as possible so they can grab the win. You need to use everyone's talents to grab the win. So as we can see, video games encourage teamwork and cooperation. A study conducted in the University of Iowa shows that playing brain-teasing games for just 2 hours a week may help slow the aging process of like, which is like the degree of mental decay associated with like aging with old people, even up to 7 years. Plus, Jason Allaire, an associate professor in the Department of Psychology at like the North Carolina State University, who was not involved with the study at all, said that playing video games requires mental energy. And like just like muscles, like when you train them, they grow and they get better. Your brain grows and it becomes stronger too. And like the I think which is the best reason for me to play video games. I think video games are good for you because they're sort of an escape from reality and like they boost your overall knowledge. It really gets updated. For example, everyone knows the Assassin's Creed game. I learned more history in these games more than anything than I ever learned in my old high school. Like it's something about tracking the corruption of the Borgia family and just stabbing them to death that makes history so quite memorable, you know? And like the second thing that I learned a lot about is like for example the Cold War, where like the Metal Gear series, they talk a lot about it. They talk about how like President Kennedy's assassination and all of that, and like how there was a gap of 13 days where everyone was silent because they expected World War III to happen, and like my school kept that silent most of the time. So yeah, like playing video games really updates your history and information. So as we can see, video games aren't as bad as people think they are. They help your mental sharpness. They're good for the aging process. They help you cooperate with people better, and like they give you more information. So like when you have a timeout, just play a video game. It's good for you. So thank you guys. Subscribe, click the like button, and see you in the next video.